Okay, guys, so sign up for the Locu API. As you see, it's real-time local business data, opening hours, price lists, and restaurant menus. Restaurant menus is what we are interested in. This data is going to be similar to the Foursquare data, so we can actually cross-reference and check things and stuff like that when we need to. So go ahead and sign up. After you sign up, you're going to be in this dashboard here. This is what you do once you log in. So let's grab your API key as your first step. Go into Komodo Edit. We're going to make a new file here, and I'm going to save it as a Python document. Save it as locu.py right on the desktop, and I'm going to do set my API equaling to my API. All right. So then we're going to go into the console here and just kind of play around a little bit. So first and foremost, you can say like Mexican restaurant, and then press enter, and it does a nice little search for you. In comparison to Foursquare, it's a little bit easier to read, and it's a little bit easier to just jump in and get started. Also, what you might notice is this URL is very friendly for what we're looking for, so go ahead and copy that, and let's go back in here and change this. Just paste that in, and we can get rid of this API key here, and I'm even going to get rid of name and just leave it as API, or just URL. Okay, or you can call it URI, but we'll just call it URL. So now if we want to get we can use locality, we can use name, we can use street address, we can use all types of things to actually find what we're looking for. So I'm just going to use locality, and we don't have to use our latitude and longitude coordinates like we did with Foursquare. So I'm going to do Newport Beach again. And notice that Newport Beach, it actually needs to have a plus in there to make it URL friendly. So I'll just do local, and then locality equals local.replace, and I'm going to replace the space with a plus. Okay, and then new URL equals underscore equals URL plus, and then we'll do question mark API, or not, we actually don't need the question mark because it's already there. So API underscore key equals, and then API plus, we'll do, and locality equals plus locality. Let's actually spell these things right. So that's the location, of course. So that's the new URL. Of course, we need to open these things again, and then we'll do object equals URL lib2 dot URL open, and URL new URL, and data equals json.load data, object, and we'll print the data. All right, so let's save that, copy all this. Let's go into terminal here, and we'll just paste that stuff in, and there we go. So similar issue as before. It has the same type of information in a dictionary or a JSON object. So to go through it, we can see in here our response. So the response has a choice of meta or objects. So we can do for ABC and data objects, print ABC. Okay, let's try that one more time. And it's going to print out ABC. ABC is all this stuff. So we can do another thing. We just add name to this. Let's get rid of that print data. Let's copy this. And there we go. A little bit easier than the Foursquare API. It's a little bit cleaner, and we have menu items and all that. So if we do a locality, let's change this one and go down here to Newport Beach. So of course this is the venue search. This is how we can cross-reference our venue. So Minute King's the first thing, and let's look back in here. Minute King was the first one, and then BJ's. So now if we want to do menu item search, and we search Newport Beach, it's going to give us a different URL at the top here. It's going to give us locality, and then it'll give us response objects. So notice this is what changed. Where it says venue, it says menu. So if you also notice, it didn't change the plus sign, it changed it to a 20%. So let's actually just change that just to follow their pattern. A lot of times you will see it's a plus, but in this case it's 20, or percent 20, excuse me. And if we do menu, let's just grab this real quick and we will do the same type of thing, but this time we'll just do menu URL, and I'm just going to paste that whole thing, and we will do object menu object equals URL lib2 URL open menu URL, and then data 2 equals JSON load menu object, and let's print data 2. All right, copy that, go in here, menu object, make sure you put that period there. And now it prints out all that data. So we can do for ABC2 in data to objects print ABC2 name. And let's just copy that. There we go. So now we have name. This doesn't look like, let's actually go see what this name actually is. So bacon and cheese biscuit should be the first one we see. And if we scroll up, bacon, cheese, or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Okay, cool. So then we want to get the venue name. Okay, so print at, let's see how it works. It's going to be a dictionary. So another dictionary venue. So ABC2 and venue, and then name. Oh, let's add a plus there and a space. So copy that. Cool. So actually, if we put it on one line, it might be a little bit cleaner. And print that. Cool. So now it shows us all of these different things. Spa Gregory's seems to have a lot of different items. So does McDonald's, and this is pretty cool. So now we can use a lot of this data, of course, when we are starting to, rate items and stuff like that. Of course, what we're going to do with the actual site has yet to be seen, but you will see it shortly. And then we can even add like prices in here, which is cool. So let's add a category of restaurant, like it says there, and then price greater to, I don't know, $3, but less than $10. And then let's do a quick search for that. Just press enter, and it's going to give us a price category. So if you look at this, it's going to say and restaurant. So and category equals to restaurant. And price, GT is a standard thing for greater than 3 and price less than 10. So let's just copy this. Or we can actually copy the whole thing. Let me go back in here. Let's paste this down here. So now we have the greater than 3, less than 10. So let's copy that whole thing. print it out. It's going to take a second because it's going to have to load it through. And now we have new stuff, different stuff too. Balboa Candy is a big one. Wildfish, Wildfish is a restaurant, so that's kind of a nice little deal there. All types of restaurants in here, which is pretty cool. It does have a candy shop, which I don't know if you would consider necessarily a restaurant, but the majority of them are restaurants, and this data looks pretty solid. Of course, we can change the numbers in here. Let's say price between $23 and like $50. We should see a little bit nicer places. Nicer and more expensive places, that is. Yeah, so we have Chart House, all types of things. Looks like we're pulling in some places, San Luis Obispo, that's not in Newport Beach, but that's okay. Benihana, Roy's, Villanova, all types of stuff. So it's pretty cool, and it's also pretty easy. And if you remember how we did all this stuff, we can start adding more dynamic calls. So let's say, for instance, we want to just take our price out here. Let's take this out and just do plus price plus. Okay, so then we do price equals to that. We actually probably want to put this above it, and make sure you put the pluses on the outside of the quotes, not on the inside. That was a little bit of a mistake. Okay, so plus price. So we can also change these to greater than. So GT equals to 20, and then we can change that to less than, and then less than equals to 500. And if we copy this whole thing now, it's going to work the exact same way. It's going to bring that all together, and now you have all this stuff. Cool. So pretty easy to do, right? Price is then of course, if we know how Django works and stuff like that, we can just have this in a form and change what we want there, and then all this data will come back, and we might even be able to store it too, depending on the user agreement. So anyways, just check that out, play around with it some more, see if you can come up with different ideas, maybe street address, maybe the country. You can even use that the longitude and latitude. You can set a radius. You can do all types of things with this API. It's pretty cool. All right, so we will see you in the next one.